Welcome to NFL Nexus. Today, we're diving deep into the Indianapolis Colts and their absolutely fascinating offseason strategy. Seriously, what they're doing is pretty unconventional. They're trying to build a Super Bowl contender using two completely different blueprints at the exact same time. It's a massive gamble, a real high-wire act that could lead to glory, or, well, it could all come crashing down.
So, to really get why they're taking such a radical approach, you have to rewind a little bit. We need to start with the problem that forced their hand in the first place. Last season, the Colts, they looked like a real playoff team. They were right there. And then, it's like the wheels just completely fell off. They hit a 7-game losing streak that was just brutal, and that collapse set the stage for some really dramatic, franchise-altering moves.
All right, so here's the game plan for how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll look at that collapse and the blockbuster trade it triggered. Then, we're going to talk about the insane price they paid for a superstar. After that, we'll see how they're building a new foundation without any top draft picks. We'll also get into their draft and develop machine. It's really cool. And finally, we'll put it all together to understand their unique two-track plan. Okay, let's jump in. Okay, first up, to really get the why behind this whole strategy, we have to understand just how low things got for the Colts. This wasn't just a bad stretch of games. It was a complete and total free fall. And a fall that steep required an equally dramatic response, which came in the form of a trade that basically shook up the entire league. I mean, the end of last season was just an absolute gut punch for the Colts and their fans. You have to remember, they went from looking like a surefire playoff team to dropping 7 straight games to end the year. It was just a perfect storm of bad luck and even worse performance. And to top it all off, it was capped by season-ending injuries to their starting quarterback, Daniel Jones, and their star cornerback, Sauce Gardner. You could feel the frustration, and you just knew something big had to happen. So how did the front office respond to that epic collapse? Did they play it safe? Nope, they doubled down. They went out and made a landscape-shifting move, basically pushing all their chips to the center of the table to acquire Sauce Gardner, who is, without a doubt, one of the most elite lockdown defensive players in the entire league. This wasn't just a trade, it was a signal to everyone. The slow rebuild is over. It's time to win right now.
But of course, a move this big, it always comes with a massive, and I mean massive, price tag. We're not just talking about some draft picks here. We are talking about a franchise-altering cost, both in that precious draft capital and in cold, hard cash.
So let's start with the draft picks, because this is a stunner. The Colts sent their first-round pick for the next 2 years to the Jets. Now, you have to understand, in the NFL, those picks are the lifeblood of building a team. They're the cheapest, most effective way to get elite talent on your roster, and the Colts just willingly gave 2 of them away. And believe it or not, that wasn't all. Not even close. On top of shipping out 2 first-rounders, the Colts also had to take on Gardner's enormous contract extension. We're talking 4 years for $124.4 million. This isn't just a draft commitment. This is a huge financial weight that's going to shape their salary cap and what they can do for years and years to come.
So you gotta wonder, how does a player handle that kind of insane pressure, knowing you cost the team 2 first-round picks? Well, when Sauce was asked about it, he gave this incredible quote. "It's the kind of supreme, unshakable confidence that you can't teach." And that, right there, is exactly what the Colts were betting a fortune on.
And look, this confidence, it is absolutely backed up by a truly elite resume. We're talking about a former Defensive Rookie of the Year, a first-team All-Pro. You don't make a trade of this size for a guy who might be good. You do it for a proven, day-one, game-changing talent, a player that the general manager, Chris Ballard, literally calls a core piece for the team's future.
Okay, so this brings up a huge question, right? You've got your superstar, but you've got no first-round picks for the next 2 years. How in the world do you build out the rest of the roster and bring in young, cheap talent? Well, the Colts' answer was to pivot, and pivot hard. They turned all their attention to finding incredible value in the middle rounds of the draft. Their first key selection in this new reality didn't come on day 1 or day 2 of the draft. It came in the 4th round with pick number 113. They grabbed Jalen Farmer, an offensive guard from Kentucky. And, he comes from the SEC, a conference that's known for spinning out these tough, physical linemen who are just ready for the pros from the jump. Now, let's break down why this pick is so intriguing. Let's look at the numbers. His relative athletic score, or RAS, is a 9.83 out of 10. To put that in perspective, for a 312-pound lineman, that is absolutely elite. he's a freak athlete. And that athleticism shows up on the field. Last season, he allowed a pressure rate of just 0.2%. That basically means he almost never let a defender even get close to his quarterback. It's incredible.
So where does a guy like this fit into the Colts' plans? Well, in the short term, he's going to be that key backup on the inside of the offensive line, a swing player who can step in at a couple of different spots. He is a certified mauler in the run game, but he's also a huge piece of what the team calls its draft and stash succession plan. The whole idea is to develop him behind the scenes for a year, and then boom, he's ready to become a full-time starter.
And the Colts weren't done in the 4th round. Just a little bit later, with pick 135, they went right back to the well of finding these high upside athletes. This time, they grabbed Bryce Boettcher, a linebacker from Oregon. He's a player they specifically targeted to make their defense deeper and, just as importantly, to make their special teams a whole lot better.
Boettcher's profile is really cool. He was a dual sport guy in college, played football and baseball, and that just speaks volumes about his overall coordination and athleticism. For the Colts, though, his most valuable skill is what they call plus coverage ability. In today's pass-happy NFL, having a linebacker who can actually run with tight ends and running backs isn't a luxury anymore. It's an absolute necessity.
So right away, his biggest impact is probably going to be on special teams. His speed and tackling are going to make him a huge asset there. On defense, he's going to be a valuable role player. Think of him as a sub-package defender, a specialist you bring in on obvious passing downs specifically to go out there and cover a running back or a tight end. It's a very specific but very important job.
Now listen, selecting a guard like Jalen Farmer in the 4th round, it might seem like a random, nice little pick. But it's not. It's actually a core part of a proven, repeatable process. It's become the Colts' signature philosophy, especially when it comes to building their offensive line. It's like a machine.
And here's the formula, right here on the screen. It's the brainchild of their O-line coach, Tony Sparano Jr. And the plan is just brilliant in its simplicity. Step 1, you draft a super athletic, high-upside lineman in the 4th round. Step 2, you let them learn and provide depth as a rookie. You don't throw them into the fire. And step 3, you coach them up, and by year 2, they're ready to be a full-time starter.
And this isn't just some theory they have on a whiteboard. They have the receipts to prove this thing works. We've seen this exact pattern play out with their 4th-round picks in the 2 previous drafts. Both Tanner Bortolini and Jalen Travis follow this blueprint to a T. They went from being 4th-round depth guys in year 1 to being reliable, full-time starters in their 2nd seasons. It is a well-oiled machine.
Okay, so let's bring this all together now. Let's connect the dots. What we're seeing from the Indianapolis Colts is that they're running 2 completely opposite team-building strategies at the exact same time. You've got the huge, splashy, blockbuster trade, and then you've got this quiet, patient, developmental drafting. But here's the crazy part. They're both aimed at the exact same goal.
And this slide just lays out the 2 tracks perfectly. On one hand, you have track 1, the superstar acquisition. This is the high-cost, high-risk, win-now blockbuster for a proven guy like Sauce Gardner. The cost is astronomical, but the impact is immediate. On the other hand, you have track 2, foundational drafting. This is the low-cost, lower-risk developmental approach, finding guys like Farmer and Boettcher in the middle rounds. This path is cheap, and it's all about future upside. It's this fascinating balancing act. And what's the goal of this wild 2-track plan? Well, their biggest acquisition, Sauce Gardner himself, made it crystal clear. This isn't about rebuilding anymore. The expectation, the bare minimum, as he puts it, is to get back to the playoffs and start competing for a championship.
And so, this entire ambitious strategy leaves us with one final huge question. Is this 2-track plan a stroke of genius, a new blueprint for how to build a contender in the modern NFL? Or is it a reckless, high-stakes gamble where the massive price they paid for their superstar proves to be just too costly in the long run? Only time's going to tell, but man, it is going to be fascinating to watch. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video and subscribe to NFL Nexus for more deep dives.